Ladies and gentlemen, we are sorry for the fact that sports are not what they used to be anymore. We are sorry for the fact that money made them not be how they once were. And we are sorry for the fact that during the decades people haven't understand what money are for, so money became a weapon of corruption and so on. That undermines some principle, some main values that we should promote as a modern society. First of all, I would like to set some definitions about this motion that this House considers that professional sportsmen are grossly overpaid. Now, first of all, many professional sportsmen are, most of them, who do practice sports for a long time, that are doing it like their job, and they also receive some results in it. Now we see that grossly overpaid means the fact that they are drastically paid, that they are very high paid, and that they are very high paid. Now we see the fact that we have high paid sportsmen in each sports sector. We have athletes, footballmen, handballmen, and so on and so forth, swimmers, and I don't know, and they get paid by a very important amount of money regarding their performances, and we also have competitions that they participate to, and these money are given for several reasons, such as participating, such as having results, and having performance, and achieving experience. Well, what we basically believe today is that these payments made us support no longer what sports were once. Made us support the fact, made us undermine some main values that we should have promoted. We should have promoted when it comes to sport. Now, moreover, we see the fact that they don't really by this fact they don't really deserve these overpayments anymore, and we also see the fact that today we have misleaded what we reward and what we promote. For proving these facts, we have three major arguments. First of all, I'm going to talk about why they do not deserve it. Second of all, also I'm going to talk about what do we reward at the end of the day. And third of all, my colleague is going to talk about some principles, about some fundamental values that we have to respect when it comes to sport. Now we see that in the present, these payments are given for performance and so on. And we see them as, at the surface, we see them as a way of motivating them, as a way of making them exceed and so on. But we have to take a look at how do they really achieve this experience, how do they really achieve this performance, and so on. And we have in present sportsmen that use decorating their health in order for achieving this money, and they also degrade the vision they set on what sports are. Now, passing to the point of health, we see the fact that they, being that motivated, they are going to do everything in order for them to gain this money. And we have, for example, they could take steroids, and they could do dope and so on in order for them to reach a higher performance. Because in the present, we have many ways of them to many ways in which they can perform, and they can achieve these goals. Also, we consider at the end of the day that these goals should not be reaching these money. We consider at the end of the day that the main goal should be performance, and the main goal should be their own individual development. We also see the fact that this leads me to the second way of how they really see sports. So we consider that it's true the fact that money leads to corrupt people, that money leads to some to them misunderstanding the whole concept of sports, and we consider that for the fact that they undermine their health, that they undermine their vision upon sports, they do not deserve at the end of the day, because sportsmen should be the ones that are most aware of what they are doing, and they should be the ones that support mostly themselves, and not the fact that they gain money. We consider
So when we are agreeing to the fact that there should be some certain of compensation to sportsmen, but the fact that it shouldn't be for corrupt sportsmen who
we consider at the end of the day that we should have lower salaries that incentivize them to perform in a, and we should not have them overpaid, because when they know that they gain more money, they will do anything in order for this to be achieved. And at the end of the day, we consider that we should have these salaries in order for them to know that some of these things end somewhere, in order for them to know that no, thank you, to know that they to know that the way in which they achieve this is related to the sports rules at the end of the day. Now, passing to my second argument about what do we do and what do we promote at the end of the day. We see the fact that for the audience, for the people that don't actually do sports, this is the way of entertainment, and this is the way in which they get. I don't know. They see this on TV, they hear it on the radio, and so on. And we consider that giving these big amounts of money to these sportmen, we only give them for the audience to be entertained. So at the end of the day, what we promote and what we invest in is entertainment, and because people, no thank you, people are not. It's not like people are encouraged to do some sports when they see, when they see sportmen, sportmen in action, and only ones who are really interested in it. But we see the fact that there are not many sportmen in the world, and many of them, no thank you, and many of them are these high paid. What we should take in consideration is are the other sectors that should be more promoted, are the other sectors that we should pay attention to. Because by giving this high amount of money to sportsmen, the attention is leading to them. But by giving by promoting, I don't know, like other the health system, the educational system, and so on, we consider at the end of the day that these money make people pay attention to this sector. So that we point to the fact that when it comes to sports, money can corrupt, but we don't really see how money can corrupt when it comes to healthcare and education, because we have low investments in these. We have no investments in this sector. So at the end of the day, we've proven to the fact that sportsmen do not deserve these large amount of money, and we have also proven to the fact that the misunderstanding of the concept of money and so on leads to not rewarding and not promoting something that helps the society. And for given all these reasons, please stand for this motion.
Okay, I'd like to thank the Prime Minister and call upon the Leader of the Opposition.
Ladies and gentlemen, when the voting gets tough, you have to understand that the tough has to get creative. And that's the line to take today, under the motion that this House considers that many professional sportsmen are grossly overpaid. We are here to prove to you that the compensation that they get is the justified amount because of the passion and risk they put into their work, ladies and gentlemen. But however, before I can carry out my case, I would like to start with a few issues of rebuttal. Right? The government team, ladies and gentlemen, was supposed to come up over here and tell us that grossly payment of sportsmen is bad, and also to tell us that the extra money that they give them could actually be used for something better, ladies and gentlemen. But however, they didn't actually fulfill their mandate when they came up over here in front. And we believe that if the second speaker still comes over here and tries to justify that, they will actually be too late. Right? Now, the stance that proposition I'm trying to take is that money is used as a weapon of corruption, and that sportsmen, people, cannot actually use their money wisely, ladies and gentlemen. But however, they never gave us an example of such sportsmen, people that actually do that, ladies and gentlemen. They never gave us an example of what should we use the money for then at the end of the day, and if you lower the money, under what criteria are we going to be lowering this money? What if, ladies and gentlemen, we find that you're a sportsman, and you've been winning so many times, ladies and gentlemen, you're representing the country. At the end of the day, I'm going to be getting a low salary, ladies and gentlemen. We find that as really unfair, and we find that, ladies and gentlemen, as not actually appreciating a person's skills and a person's hard work, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, not taken, right? The proposition brought two issues of argument, ladies and gentlemen. The first issue is why we don't deserve it, right? And then the second issue is what do we actually want to see from them, ladies and gentlemen, or what we deserve to see from them. Now, under the first issue, they said, okay, the reason why these people, sportsmen people don't actually deserve this is because, first of all, they take drugs or steroids, right? So that they can better their performance and stuff like that. Ladies and gentlemen, the main reason why people are there to watch sportsmen is because of entertainment. And if you have better performance, there's better entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what people want at the end of the day. Because one thing that you realize, it's not about the sportsmen only. It's also about the people that are watching it, and it's also about representing the team and also the country. And if you think that we should actually use such type of steroids to actually better the performance, so that you can actually support and achieve the country's goals, then I think it's a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. I think then it's best that you should actually do it, right? And then under the second point they spoke about, they told us that okay, we should actually lower their salaries, ladies and gentlemen. And as I said before, they never actually gave us a criteria on how we should actually lower their salaries, ladies and gentlemen, on whether you're a good sportsmanship, or bad sportsmanship, ladies and gentlemen. They never actually told us something like that. Right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I as the first speaker will be looking at why do we value a sportsman and why is their salary important. Second of all, I will look at how do we judge good performance and how do we maintain it. And my second speaker will look at what is the motive and purpose of a salary, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Now, let's come to my first point, which is why do we value sportsmen and why is their salary important? And the thesis under the sport is an important aspect of our modern life that requires a lot of determination and passion, and that is why they work, and that is why they actually are compensated for their work, ladies and gentlemen. Take it away.
So you think that the sport things it's the only domain in which people are really patient and put their effort in it?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, looking at reality, that's what's actually happening, ladies and gentlemen, because sport is actually a very big thing that's happening around the world, and that's what people pay a lot of attention to, and that's what brings a lot of entertainment into people. So yes, we feel that sport is actually the main thing that people are actually focused on, not taking, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, under my first point, why do we value a sportsman and why is their salary important? Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we look at the experience of the person. We look at how much experience and how much skill does the person have. And also, second of all, we look at the amount of competition that is actually challenging the person, ladies and gentlemen. And also, we look at the aims of, we also look at the aims, ladies and gentlemen, of why a sportsman is actually there, ladies and gentlemen. And the aim is one of the aims is to represent themselves, to represent the team, and also to represent the country, ladies and gentlemen. Because one thing you can see, especially also, for example, when it comes to soccer players, when they have to go and play internationally, they play internationally not for themselves or for the team, but also for the country, so that they can at least bring something back home and thank them for the support, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why they're actually being compensated so much. And the next thing is looking at the participation. We find that these sportsmen people, they work endlessly, ladies and gentlemen, to try and actually keep fit, to actually also to try and keep firm, and to also better their performance much more, ladies and gentlemen, so that whenever competition is there, they're actually prepared and they're actually ready to actually fight it all, right? And the last thing, ladies and gentlemen, they are and you find that the reason why they're compensated, ladies and gentlemen, is that they put so much, they put so much into what they do, ladies and gentlemen, and they always try to maintain a certain standard and not to actually drop from the type of standard. And you also find that it gives an insurance to keep them in a certain division, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why they're actually being compensated so much, ladies and gentlemen. So we don't actually see it as soccer players are being paid so much, and if they are being paid so much, we find that the payment is actually justified, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually justified for them, ladies and gentlemen. And to look back, what I've told on the first point, we looked at the compensation of why we actually have to pay these people. We looked at and gave you two reasons. First of all, because of participation, and the second of all, because of representation. Also looking at the competition, the amount of competition that's actually around and that they are facing, and also the experience, and which actually links back to our thesis that sport is an important aspect of our modern life that requires a lot of determination and passion, and that is why they are actually being compensated. Now coming to my second point, which is how do we judge a good performance and how do we maintain a taken life? Okay, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the sport is all about passion and determination, and in order to do well, it requires a lot of skills, ladies and gentlemen, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we judge a good performance by the amount of contribution that the sports person actually puts into the team, ladies and gentlemen. We also look at the number of wins that the person has actually put up, that the team has actually brought for the country, and we also look at the strategies that are also implemented, ladies and gentlemen, because we believe that as sportsmen, that you also have to look at the strategies that you can bring up, so that when competition is there, you can actually implement those strategies and try to win. And last, we also see that we also check whether the sportsman actually benefits the team and the country, and not actually helping the team or the country down, ladies and gentlemen, which actually links back to our thesis and to our burden of proof, which is the compensation that they get is a justified amount because of the passion and the risk they put into their work, ladies and gentlemen. So all in all, we still say that their amount is justified, and we don't think that it's a bad thing that they actually being grossly paid, ladies and gentlemen. And with all of said, we stand for opposition. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to thank the leader of the opposition and call upon the Deputy Prime Minister.
The main problem that we today as proposition team have with these grossly overpaid bunches is the fact that it makes the sportsmen think about money as the main incentive for their work. The main incentive for a sportsman should be their result, should be their performance. I actually have it in the debate, because you all participate at competition, and what you are actually satisfied with are the results, are the competition, and are the improvement, the self-improvement that we have. Therefore, we believe that the sportsman's main incentive should be this
these self-advantages. Moreover, we are not saying that they should not be paid, but this grocery sum only have the result to make them think as the fact that the most important thing are these huge amounts of money. Yes.
Ma'am, what actually leads the sportsmen to actually get this gruesome amount of money that you assume is a bad thing?
These sportsmen are incentivized by this grossly amount of money to take high risks in order to achieve this gross amount of money, and they are paid like this because the audience wants entertainment. And in order to achieve entertainment, they desire spectacular games that as a whole makes sportsmen concentrate more about the fact that they will receive money, more about the fact that they will win the game. So, first of all, 92 Bophelo opposition case. They are saying, first of all, the fact that we must value their passion and also we must appreciate their work. But actually, we appreciate their work and we value their passion because we pay them. But this grossly amounts of money makes them not being dedicated so much to the main purpose, to the main idea that, sport is about value, it's about competition, it's not that much about money. Thing that is succeeded to this grossly overpaid. Moreover, also the fact that they represent us overboard, and the fact that they are the ones who represent the country abroad should be an incentive for them to give the best in order to achieve the better result. So here we're saying the fact that these grossly overpaid, these huge amounts of money are the ones who ruin the entire perception of sport and the entire principles for which sports after all stands for, which are competition, fair play also, and moreover the fact that money are not that important in this particular case. However, restating our own systematic, we believe the fact that in our first argument we show that how we should not incentivize a sportsman to believe that their main achievement will be gaining some extremely large amount of money. No, thank you. But it will be the result of the competition and so on and so forth. It's not our job today to prove you how exactly are going to reward them. Our job is today is to prove you today that we consider that this grossly overpaid, that these sportsmen do not deserve this grossly overpaid. No, thank you. Therefore, another fact for which they do not deserve this fact is that in the moment that the audience also knows the fact that they are so high paid, they send a message. The message sent is the fact that, I'm so high paid for my performance, while there are other people who bring a better addition to society and who make more important things for the society, and they are less paid than a sportsman does. And this is what I'm going to speak in my second point. The fact that they did not deserve it because the work that they impose is not as important as it will be in comparison with other domains. As we let's just take the example of the doctor. he saves millions of lives. And the amount of money that he receives is not that huge that a sportsman does. And the main achievement of this sportsman will be gaining an audience, while the doctor may save the life of the audience. And therefore, we believe that for this as another main reason, they do not deserve gaining. They do not deserve gaining so grossly overpaid, because also considering the fact that the incentive for performance and also for competition and performance should be more than the one that money actually gives you. So we are standing today for the fact that the entertainment world of the sportsman should be paid, but this should not in any case be in disbalance in such a disbalance with other jobs that may bring a better benefit as a whole to the society, that better benefits us as a whole. Therefore, we believe that these sportsmen do not bring such a benefit that we should actually pay them for that much. So therefore, we believe that the fact that a doctor saves life is more, and he also puts passion and dedication in his career, is more than the fact that the sportsman represents his country, which is also important, but the incentive of that particular case should be the representative and the competence and the self-improvement itself. So considering all these facts, at the end of the day, we desire to prove to it today that this system is not bring any kind of benefits, for the image of the sport as a whole, and it only succeeded to make it a system of greed in which performance and is tied directly with market. Thank you, and considering all these facts, we please propose.
Okay, so I'd like to thank the Deputy Finance Minister and call upon the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
In the second speech of the proposition side, they came up with an example of how people with better jobs in the domain don't get paid as sportsmen. But now what we ask as the opposition side is, how is it a private club sports problem that a doctor is not paid enough? Now I want to go into my main point of rebuttal. What I would like to invite the point that the second speaker came up here and made is that sportsmen think money is their main incentive. Now, what we as on the opposition side see that a sportsman needs to perform well in order for them to get this money that they get at the end of the month. Now, what we see is that if they don't perform well as they're supposed to do, they won't actually get the money that they actually were going to get if they had performed as well. Now, the first speaker of the proposition side came up here and told about how the sportsmen don't actually deserve to get the type of money that they're getting because they have steroids, and how their main goal and then they're only doing this to get the money. But what we see as the opposition side is that sportsmen as the first had a monthly drug test to test that the best performance that they're doing is that at their best ability, and they don't have any assistance to help them do the sports that they are doing as well as they're doing. So what we see is at that point of that they should not be paid because they're not doing it as their own goes away. Now, that she came up here and said that the main goal is to be developed. Of course it is to be developed. And of course when you get these main high salaries is that you develop yourself as a person, and of which I'll bring in my constructive point. Now what we see is that sportsmen work themselves to get this type of salary. You don't just it's not just any person that is picked to be in a sports club. You go through training, you go through trials, you go through anything to do that you can prove yourself that you're actually good enough to play a sport for a specific region or a specific country. And for you to play that country, it's a representation of the country that you're playing for and the region that you're playing for. Thank you, Nan. And what they also feel, and what they also failed to show us is that they told us that money made sports with this value and it's a weapon of corruption. What they didn't show us is that how is it a weapon of corruption? And they need to show us that if they decrease the amount of money that they're being paid, how much money will they be actually paying them? No, thank you, now. They say that we also see that sportsmen do this for passion. They don't do this because they do this because they actually want to and it's actually passion. If they have themselves, if it wasn't a passion, they wouldn't have been doing it. Now,
Don't you consider that they are that passionate and they have such a big love for sports, they would agree to be paid less?
Yes, ma'am. I see that they're saying that if they have a passion, they go to the best of their ability, and that best of their ability see that they need to be paid such an amount, which will increase the level of passion they will actually have. Now moving on to my constructive matters, what is the motive and purpose of a salary? And after that I will be looking at responsibility to protect and lifestyle and how is this important. Now I'm going to clarify this motive. The motive is to compensate for labor that is given. And for the labor that they actually put into this is their physical activity. And this physical activity is and not something that is given to each and every person. It's something that you have a talent. It is not a naturally given talent. It's something that you train for. You train from a very young age for you to become such a good sport at it and do so well for it. And you don't get millions of sportsmen, and therefore they should be kept. The proposition brought up here and say that there are not that many sportsmen, and you need to give them an incentive for them to actually stay, and you also need to give an incentive for other people, as they say, the audience, that they're also going to come and bring and see what they could also be sportsmen. And what we see is that when you play for a sport or for a country or a sport or a specific region, there is recognition for unity that is sport when sport is played. And this, we see that this is not only good for certain regions, also good for the whole country. It shows unity and shows a well development of how a country can be built on. And we see that this what they're doing is a healthy competition. And what these players do is put their own body health at risk when they play these sports. And they also need to be sure and have assurance that when they get hurt and that when they can no longer play a sport, they need to have insurance and assurance that I can still have the money and a way for me to go on living without playing the sport. Because once you break in the moment, man, once you break a muscle, once you tear a muscle in your body, it happens that you can no longer play the sport, and you see that it's a detriment to yourself, and now you need to have the assurance and insurance that you can have a life that you have a living when your career is done. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know the fact that they actually get paid before retiring from sports.
What we see now is that, as I say that, you say that they get paid before they retire. Of course they have to get paid because this is their job. If they don't get paid, then it wasn't going to be a job. And we say that it's professional sportsmen. And we see that professional sportsmen, their job only lasts for 8 to 10 years. Now they also have to have an assurance that after these 10 years, because it's too late in their life to actually get a career that can actually provide for them, they also have to have a surety that after this, they're going to have money that they can and show for themselves. And you see that the only thing they can do after that, they play the sport is either coach or advice. Now the purpose is to encourage development for sportsmen and good performance, which therefore leads to good representation. Now moving on to my first pillar, which is the responsibility to protect. People have their responsibility for self-autonomy and self-protection. And they do this by getting paid. And when they do this, they satisfy their needs and wants. And they also need to do this by taking care of their bodies and health. So they need to take care of the instrument that they use to play the actual sport. So you can't do the actual sport if the what you use to play the sport does not actually work properly. So as sports players, you need to also keep fit and also need to make sure that they play to the best of their ability. Now my second pillar of lifestyle, that they have an expensive lifestyle, and a lot of people, that is what a lot of people aim for, because this is what they want, and to be responsible for their lives and be accountable for the lives they live in and their own development and the development of their families and people that they share their lives with. And as I said before, this gives assurance and insurance of what they need. And we also see this it's a way to represent the country and the region that they play for. And with this, I'm showing you that the players need this type of money because they have a responsibility to protect themselves. They have a certain lifestyle to live for. And I'm showing you that the motive and the purpose for our thesis has been proven, and therefore we've reached it.
Okay, so I'd like to thank the Secretary of the Opposition for the post the government's
What I want to clarify in this debate is the fact that at the end of the day it comes to the question if a sportsman deserves this huge amount of money he receives or not. What we prove you today is the fact that they do not receive these big salaries. And on the other side we have the opposition team that tell us, well, they put effort in this and so on, so they deserve to be paid, but they don't show us exactly why they have to get this huge amount of money. We are not talking about a normal salary which every person gets because everyone puts effort in his job and so on. We are talking about huge amounts of money, which team proportion shows you today the fact that they are not proven by anyhow. Now I'm going to talk about on three major points. First of all, the balance between the work sectors. Second of all, about the pushing around limits, and third of all, about the money's impact on the value of the sport. First of all, let's look at the balance between the work system and how exactly is the problem that team proposition brought to you today. Is the fact that, well, we see that we take a football player and on the other side we take a doctor. We see that a football player, he might have passion and talent in sport, and he may entertain people which watch TV and see football games, but we see that on the other hand we have a doctor which puts the same effort into it and which who has talent, who also has talent and also has a bigger impact on the society, as we see the fact that a doctor saves lives. And we don't have only, now thank you, the example of a doctor. Well, we see the fact that there are other risky jobs and like working in a mine and so on, which help which bring a big improvement into the society more than a football player does. So we wouldn't have a problem with these high salaries. No, thank you. If there would be some equality between these sectors, we wouldn't have a problem if a doctor would receive money for his performance and for the fact that he saves lives of the people. We don't mind it, but we see the fact that the balance of salaries is really going on the side of football players who just entertain people and receive huge amount of money for what? For just kicking a ball. We see the fact that a doctor does more than this, and we see the fact that what we want at the end of the day, we want equality and we want and to treat the same and to treat with responsibility these things. And we wouldn't, no, thank you, we don't have a problem if, as I said, they would have, these doctors would have higher salaries or in other domains. Also, we see the fact that they brought us the argument they receive so much money because they put passion in it and so on. And we see that when I choose a job, well, I do put passion in it if I want to get a good result. And if this is not an argument that proves the fact that they should receive a salary. More than that, it is only yet about what you can do to help the society and how the salary you receive really reflects what you do for it and how it really reflects your job and why is it good. Yes, sir.
But ma'am, how has the NGO, how has the community become a problem for the NGOs which own the football clubs and the sporting management and all those people?
Well, we see the fact that we don't really understand why these high salaries should be paid to the doctors. Now I'm going to move on my second point, also proving that they do not deserve it and deserve it about pushing your own limits. We see that we stand for the fact that they do not deserve it more because of the fact that they do illegal things in order to get to have these higher salaries. As we said, they are taking steroids and so on, which on the other hand are hurting the individual itself, not overall the society. And we see the fact that well, the team of officials said that they are doing it for entertainment and people are happy for this, but we see that we think that the public would be more satisfied if they would know that these football players do not put money in front of entertainment and of what their goal is. And we see the fact that because the salary is so high, the money becomes a temptation for them and becomes something that they cannot just move over it and not take it in consideration. Yes.
But ma'am, what do they then do in order to have that temptation and actually get this money?
Well, they push, this is what I'm talking about, the fact that they push their own limits and the fact that they do things that are illegal just to get that money. We see the fact that if they are passionate and they do this with pleasure, well, they will do this for a normal salary and in order the society to work better and have equality between these sectors of work, which is our problem today. Well, we see the fact that money these high salaries make the individuals that are in sport to think about their own good and lose, and moreover, they are losing the idea of sport and what it promotes. We see the fact that money is becoming the negative thing in this, and it's not it's not anymore about rewarding their performance, it's more about making them do, pushing their limits and doing little stuff in order to get this money. And we see the fact that if they wouldn't be so high paid, well, they would not be so interested in the money than in the performance and in the passion and doing it for their own good, not for the money. More than that, no, thank you. We do not have to show you today how exactly we are going to make their salaries lower and so on. What our duty is today is, as I said, to show you if they deserve it or not, how exactly, and we are going to improve this or not. It's a whole other debate. More than that, I'm going to move forward to my third point, and the fact that this brings a bad impact on the value of the sport, and it is losing its idea, and it is not what it used to be anymore. And we see the fact that sport is not anymore taken as competition and as fighting with your own skills and so on. It makes people engage going to sports because when I will be when I grow up and I'll be a football player, well, I earn this much just by playing, and they are not so incentivized to go in another sector and work for something else. So we see the fact that sport is, the value of the sport is going to be created by this. So at the end of the day, we see that we showed you the fact that they do not deserve it, because this money acts like a negative thing on them and makes them push their limits and not take sport for what it should be. Thank you, and please propose the motion.
Thank you, and now we'd like to call upon the opposition group.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, one thing we need to understand about this debate, it's not about whether the money that the sportsmen have can be put to better use in society. It's whether they are actually obtained and actually have put enough role that they play to a such point where they actually deserve the money that they have. Where it goes, that shouldn't be proposition's problem, because you cannot take money from an NGO and take it to a society where they not feel comfortable with. And even if there was such a point, we would need some sort of a buy-in policy where they would actually convince us to show that the sports clubs or whatever sponsors that are sponsoring these people with this money will actually buy into this whole point of taking money elsewhere besides giving it to the people who partake in the sports or the people who work hard for that money. Now, coming to that point, this actually shows some sort of a conclusion within Prop's case, where they actually thought that this money, where they actually thought that within education, you could rather subsidize your hard work for somebody else's sweat. Now, what we see is that everyone has a responsibility at the end of the day. Everyone has a responsibility at the end of the day. And the responsibility by opposition has clearly been shown that they have the responsibility to protect and to obtain a certain lifestyle, and for the fact that they have needs at the end of the day, like every other individual, it then makes it more justified for these people to actually be entitled to some sort of compensation, whether it might be not equal, but for the fact that they earned it at the end of the day and they work for it, which is what our opposition has been agreeing with within today's debate. That makes it more justified for them to actually get this large amount of money at the end of the day. Now, I'll be dealing with three major points of rebuttal today. Now, I'll be dealing with this whole point of how NGOs actually become how society and greater society actually becomes a problem and responsibility for NGOs and private clubs and private entities. And I'll be talking about this whole point of how the balance work system is actually met by how the balance work system is actually met and is actually kept in motion. And within that, I'll be bringing you to this whole conclusion that yes, it is justified to give these people money because they earned it at the end of the day, and that is what we aim to prove to you today as opposition. Please tell me one.
Can you explain why the passion and the effort of a sportsman is more important than the passion of the footballer or someone else? What they should receive superior?
Thank you, ma'am. Now, the fact that they have the passion and they put the effort, it is the main reason why they should actually receive such a large sum of money. Because at the end of the day, they do not belong to a public club which caters for each and every football or tennis player all around the world. They belong to sponsors, and sponsors choose that they want to pay an amount of money according to their effort and the amount of pressure they put on themselves. Now we feel that because these people have actually acknowledged and respected the amount of money that they're actually going to be getting, they then make it an incentive for themselves to actually maintain a certain standard within a region to actually progress to higher heights. Now what we feel that it would be unfair if a soccer player who doesn't put any much effort into getting into making sure that he also meets the caliber of getting a sponsor which will pay him enough money and make him think that just because he plays soccer, he can earn as much as David Beckham or Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. Now, what we see is that wouldn't make sense. Now, even if that would make sense, you want proposition to come and explain how that is then justified for a soccer player to subsidize his own money for another soccer player at the end of the day. Now, that goes with that point. Now, coming to my first point, which is this whole point of which comes to this whole point of how of why is the society, why is the larger society now all of a sudden an NGO or private entity's responsibility? Now, what we want to know from the proposition is that if I own a football club or a tennis club or I own a golf tournament, why shouldn't I be allowed to spend my money where I want to, however I feel I want to? Because at the end of the day, it is my money. Whether people spend money to come and watch, or whether people spend money to come and watch my games, or to come and support the sporting scene that I have, at the end of the day, they're doing it logically, and they have the choice to come or not to come. So I'm not forcing anyone, and I would appreciate it if no one would also force me on telling me where I should take my money. Now, what opposition is supposed to do today is to tell us how government entities all of a sudden become the responsibility of NGOs and private entities. Please tell us what
So we do not care how much money your NGO has and how he spends it. We just say it is not, they do not deserve this money, these players.
Thank you, ma'am. For the fact that you say that they do not deserve it, then it means that somebody else deserves it. But how is it a problem for the NGO that these people actually feel satisfied with giving the people the money because they have worked for it in the first place? You're supposed to come and tell us that the amount of work, effort that they do and the pressure that they put on themselves is not enough to actually guarantee or to incentivize the NGOs to come and give the money. We are proving that this point is actually justified by showing you the fact that NGOs are actually impressed with the pressure that they put on themselves and the fact that the ways that they get guarantee them more money and guarantee the sponsors more money, and in fair trade and in fair business, if you get more money, the player also has to get more money in order to maintain some certain balanced work system which they have been vying for. Now, with that point, it actually justifies and clears and shows that the NGO, that public entities are not a responsibility for NGOs in the first place, and you cannot incentivize or put a penalty on them to say that this is what they're supposed to do for the society. If they do not want to, there is nothing you can do about it, which is one thing proposition was supposed to accept from the beginning of this debate. Now, coming to my second point, which is how is this balance, how is the balanced work system actually made? Now, the balanced work system is actually made by saying that if I offer my experience and I offer my experience to the point where I may become a competition and offer competition to other competitors which are actually in a rivalry or some sort of a clash for a certain reason, such as we've seen that they would either be in a rivalry for a cup or for money or for any other thing within tournaments such as we have here. There would have to be someone that would be competitive enough to represent. And what we see is that this amount of money guarantees that if you pay me, guarantees the private entities and the soccer player that if you pay me a certain amount of money, I will represent you to my best. And that is what we see in reality. And what we do not see in reality is the fact that how is the money becoming all of a sudden becoming a problem for their performance? And even if it is becoming a problem for their performance, how is that a bad thing in the first place? Because what they're supposed to come and show us is that their performance actually becomes hindered. They actually become hindered because they're getting a certain amount of money. Not the fact that they should volunteer the services, because that is actually strawmanning the case, and they're creating an unnecessary burden for themselves, which they did not actually carry out throughout the whole debate. Now, with that said, this actually shows you and shows you that yes, it is justified for these people to receive the money because they work for it in the first place. And the fact that the people who are giving the money are willing and actually acknowledge that these people are actually entitled to this certain money, it is then an incentive for both of these parties to actually maintain a suitable and maintainable relationship. Now, with all of that, we beg to oppose.
Okay, so I'd like to call upon the next speaker for the opposition.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we all have to understand that everything happens for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. With hard work, you get a good amount of money, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we don't really understand about sportsmanship. They were actually supposed to come up over here and prove to us that grocery payment of these sportsmen is bad and that the money could be used for something more important, and also to prove to us that sport is not all about the amount of money to better your performance, but all about passion and effort to satisfy yourself, ladies and gentlemen. But however, they never came up over here and proved to us that they just came up over here and told us that they just came over here to tell us what they deserve from sports, and to also tell us what they don't want from sports, and to also tell us that, you know, the money is actually a bad thing. Money is actually the incentives that sports people are trying to focus on, right? And that it's no more about sports anymore, it's about money. Now let's clearly deal with them individually. Looking at the first point that they brought up, whereby they were speaking about why they don't deserve money. They told us, they came up with and told us that the reason why they don't deserve so much money is because they're taking bad substances like steroids, right? And then we ended up we responded by telling them that sports attracts a certain amount of people depending on the amount of performance that these sportsmen actually bring forth into the ground, right? So that at least at the end of the day, the more people that you bring will bring the more people that you bring also looks at the amount of income that you will actually earn at the end of the day. Because if you look at reality, if you perform quite well for the country, or if you perform quite well when coming to a challenge, you'll actually bring a lot of people to come and watch you perform that well, ladies and gentlemen, which will actually bring a lot of income. And that income, we actually give it to you as to show our appreciation for what you've actually done, for entertaining us, ladies and gentlemen. And that's one of the reasons why we actually won this point. And then we also told them that sportsmen are tested monthly to check on their health and to see whether they're still worthy enough to actually still play and still participate as a gentleman. We actually show that if you're a sportsman, you have to train every day, always try to look after your health, because it's not only not only the team that relies on you, it's also the country and the people that relies on you, and also on your entertainment. And that's why this point also falls back on us, because the proposition didn't actually come up over here and try to give us it. But however, they came up and then they spoke about what do you want at the end of the day, whereby they're like, you want lower salaries, right? And then we answered them by telling them that these sportsmen people, right, they never just got money just like that, but then they worked themselves off in order to get so much money, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why at the end of it all, with hard work, you actually get a good amount of money. Hard work actually pays off, and nothing actually, and everything happens for a reason. And then lastly, they came up over here and spoke about that sportsmen actually make money. The incentive at the end of the day is not about sports and it's not about sports and the passion and everything else, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let us not fantasize, ladies and gentlemen, about what's really going on, right? Because if you really look at reality, we actually find that sports people actually contribute a lot in order to keep fit. You find that they participate a lot, and you find that they have a lot of competition to actually try and handle, right? And that's what sportsmanship is all about. It's all about participating, it's all about experience, it's all about skills, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why we won this point, because when we answered them back by telling them the sportsman people, they actually participate a lot, they actually sacrifice a lot of their time, you know, to show them the appreciation. And that's why we won this point. And with all that you said, we stand for opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. And to some of this entire debate, I'm very happy to call the Vice Speaker of the government.
Thank you. team opposition comes up and talks about passion, determination, representation, and their own country, which is actually patriotism, they have to take in consideration the fact that these values cannot be quantified in money. Actually, what is quantified in money when it comes to sportsman is his job, is the fact that that's what he does as a job, and not actually, he shouldn't be paid for the passion that he puts and the heart he puts into his own work. But today, we as a proposition team have proven you the fact that not these large amounts of money really are the reward for their job, and we have proven you the fact that for a simple job that sportsmen do, just as other jobs, should be paid with normal amounts of money, so that no one will ever say that a sportsman's passion and a sportsman's determination is more important than people of other sectors, and nobody will ever tell that actually these money are paid for passion and for the hard they put in, because you have to understand the fact that these values and and principles and something you respect in your life cannot be quantified in money, because if you are that passionate and that self-determined, you do not really care about your money. Further on, I'm going to talk about 3 points which they got a little bit wrong. First of all, we have been given a lot of burdens from the opposition team today. But what is actually our duty is to prove to you why we consider that the fact that they are these high paid, actually is not good. Our duty was not to bring a solution. Our duty was not to change something. Just to raise awareness for in what concerns these facts. Also, we are now passing to the second point. At the end of the day, what do we want them to be motivated for? What do we reward? And you have to understand the fact that if we promote them, if we promote these values, we are not talking about money. If you promote these values, we are talking about exactly what team opposition stands for. And we are seeing what we have proven you today is the fact that sports is a job that has to be equal with the other jobs, and there shouldn't be such a big disbalance between these sectors, because at the end of the day we see that doing sports is a job, and each job has its particularities and so on. Because also we see the fact that actually what they do in what concerns audience, they only bring entertainment and so on. So should we actually support high payments for entertainment, or should we actually supporting high payments in other sectors that may have might have a bigger impact on society? And it is obvious that education and healthcare are more beneficial, and it's not like we are going to cut their money off. It's not like we are going to intervene for them, but it's just the fact that we should raise awareness. We should let them know that these high salaries that you are paid for may do harm for you, because at the end of the day, what we think about is about the good of everyone. Another point that they didn't understand is how their money are actually managed, and they saw this high payment plan of the insurance and assurance of life, but they haven't taken in consideration the fact that they are paid for life. They are paid if I don't know if they need assurance of something, and if they need protection and care and so on. So given all these reasons, we consider at the end of the day that there is no reason why we should talk about these kinds of high salaries when it comes to sport.
Thank you, guys. I invite all of you to shake hands and play outside for your attendance.